Thank you for everyone who is here tonight. This is an illustrious occasion. This is an amazing occasion. This is a night when we award 2 honorary doctorates and a presidential medal for people who have changed Sacramento and have changed Sac State and are continuing to change our nation and our country and who we are. Academia is weird, okay? Tonight we're going to put on, and we have Vanna White over here getting ready to show you. We're going to put on robes on people. These robes were made for when we academics were in cold stone buildings, and it's the only way they could stay warm. But they're important because they've got on the side the velvet that signifies 3 stripes that you're a doctor. They've got rounded sleeves, and then there's the hood. And the hood is the most important part because it tells you what colors you are. And tonight, all 3 of our donors are green and gold, okay? And that is Sac State and the Hornets and who we are. And then there's the funny hat, okay? The hat that signifies who you are, not a monk, but a doctor, someone who is dedicated to education and where we should go. These hoods are really a reflection of who we are and what we mean. I say it over and over. Education is sacred. Education is what lifts each and every one of us up. Education is what will save this world in this tumultuous times. Tonight, we have 2 doctoral recipients and 1 presidential Medal of Honor. And these choices are very deliberate. Very, very deliberate. Since I've been here, Lester Holt got a doctorate. And last year, Pastor Ephraim Williams got a doctorate. And this year, Alice Huffman, representing the African American community and upholding that community and making a difference in the lives. You know, I can talk about how she has worked with so many governors, okay, that she's even working with Jerry Brown now to increase the number of African Americans that are in government. And she's working all of the time to come forward. This woman, how many times have you been elected the president of the NAACP for California, Hawaii? And I don't know why Hawaii is part of California, but I like it. It is. I never go there. How many times have you been elected? Since 1999. Okay? 1999. She's been a trustee at the CSU, okay, who helped us champion what we're doing in California State University. Now, I'm embarrassed that she also worked for UC Davis as an assistant dean of admissions, but we'll forgive her for that tonight because she's going to be wearing green and gold, okay? None of this blue stuff. But she's dedicated. She's dedicated to lifting people, to making certain that people have a chance. Yeah. These are tough times in Sacramento right now. And if we don't acknowledge what's happening with Stefan Clark, with Stevante, what's happening in the whole community, then we are ignorant. She has been on the forefront of healing, on the forefront of bringing us together and helping us. When I needed to make a phone call, when I needed advice, I called Dr. Alice. Tonight she is Dr. Alice. And I called her because I knew she would be honest with me. She would tell me what we need to do, and she would help us move forward. So Dr. Alice, would you please come to the stage and say a few words, and then we will robe you. This is Dean Sasha Sidorkin, who will now robe you. Let's zip her up first. But actually, this is really, really important to us in academia. It means something. And receiving a doctorate, it really, really means something. You lost the tassel. Here it is. Speak into it as close as you can.
Am I green and gold forever?
You are green and gold.
I am green for gold forever. Oh, listen, I am so excited. I have a couple of things I want to say, but first, I want to thank you, Dr. Nelson, and I want to thank Ms. Nelson for the great hospitality for this event. It's just wonderful. Thank you both. And I also want to thank your professor there, Julian, who nominated me, NAACP, and the members of my family that helped to get this application forward. But you get a double thanks because you had sense. You gave it to me, and it's something I've been wanting all my life. It's always escaped me. I won't tell you how it escaped me, but it's always escaped me. And I've been lying. I let people call me a doctor when I wasn't a doctor, but it sounds good, so now they can call me Dr. Alice or whatever. So I was thinking, since I had 10 minutes and I just used 2 of them, that I might want to talk about my road to here. My road to here today. Now, there are a lot of friends and family out here that's always supported me. A lot of my members who come wherever we are, who work hard in civil rights work, always supported me. And so this has been a fulfillment in my life. But I thought I might want to start with a little history. Mr. Brown, Willie Brown, not the Jerry Brown that you guys don't love to hate, my Willie Brown that I love all the time, I love Jerry too, asked me the other day, Alice, when are you going to write your book? And I was thinking if I wrote a book, I would give it a title. The title would be All of the Silver Linings That I Have Had to Find in the Adversities That Got Me Here Today. But I would start with the fact that I was part of a family of 18. My dad was a coal miner, and if he hadn't died at 47 and left mom with 6 minor kids, and we had to leave the coal mines because there's no work there for women, we wouldn't have made it to Michigan where there was work for people. So instead of that being a downer, it was probably an upper because we got to move and not become permanent coal miners forever, but move somewhere where there were opportunities. And so Mom turned that into, she got that silver lining, and she took us someplace where we would never have been before. And so that might have started the silver linings in my life because I had so many of them. But my 8th grade teacher in Cleveland, Ohio, was angry with me because I didn't want to do housework at her house. And when it was time for me to move on to the 9th grade, she told my mom that I wasn't college material. My mom didn't have any money anyway, accepted it and sent me to a trade school. And I didn't like typing, and I didn't like sewing. They took me from the trade school to a girls' vocational school. I didn't like sewing, and so I dropped out of school. I dropped out in the 10th grade. Now, I went to New Jersey. If I hadn't dropped out of school, I wouldn't have been in New Jersey trying to do an embroidery business. You all remember when you used to put embroidery on the bowling shirts, and it was a big thing on the East Coast. So I did that and I tried to sing. I didn't make it in embroidery, and I didn't make it in singing because I had a big gig. You see, I'm a ham. I had a big gig in Miami, but I blew it. And so I went home to Cleveland to see if I needed throat surgery. And while I was there, I went to work for the Congress of Racial Equality, CORE, to get Carl Stokes elected, the first African-American man to get elected. That's when I fell in love with politics. And so if I hadn't had voice trouble and if I'd succeeded in my business, I wouldn't have fallen in love with politics. So a man came along that was the chairman of CORE, and he said, "Oh, Alice, you're some kind of smart." Well, I knew I was smarter than those guys that had degrees. I was a high school dropout, but I knew I was smarter than them because I fixed a couple things for them. He said, "You should come to California and go to school. You come to California, you can get a free education." I said, "Oh, well, because I got so carried away with Carl Stokes' campaign, I forgot to go to my gig in the Catskills that I had had for 3 years at Peg Leg Bates Resort. And when the election was over, I didn't have a gig. So what did I do? Didn't stop me. I got in my 1966 Chevrolet by myself, and I motored west. And I went to work at Peralta Colleges. This is an interesting little story. And so I'm working at Peralta Colleges, and I'm feeling really bad, all you deans. You know, I'm a high school dropout. And I was there because it was money that was given to me, given to them from Ford Foundation, because the Panthers were on their butts about not having any African Americans at Peralta College. So they hired me. I was a flying buttermilk. They set me right out there where everybody could see me, and there I sat, and I was doing really well. Then I decided, after going to lunch and dinner with the deans, because I was, up there with them, and they're talking about Sigmund Freud and Karl Marx, and I didn't know who those people were. I didn't know if they were my uncles or my cousins or whomever. So I said, well, I better do what I came to California to do. I better go to school. So I announced that I was going to go to the University of California. And they threw me a party in this place where I was the fly in the buttermilk. And the man who hired me was a dean, and he had misread my resume. And he had to fix it because he thought I had graduated from college. I did go to the elementary school that I said. I did go to the high school that I said. I did go to Cuyahoga Community College 2 years before, and I did do some work at Rutgers, but it was in adult education because I was a worker, factory worker. And he read it like you read a California resume. When he found out he couldn't find my diploma, he said, I can't find your diplomas. I said, I don't got no diplomas. He said, what? I said, I'm a high school dropout. I said, I'll leave. He said, oh, no. Oh, the Panthers will kill us. Oh, no, they love you. Oh, don't leave. That's when I found out, President, that y'all can fix anything. He fixed it. I got an adult teaching credential. He said, I have to get you a credential. I go, what is a credential? He said, you don't know what a credential is? I go, no. But anyway, at this going away party, he walks up to me and he said, Alice, when did you apply to Cal? And did they accept you? I go, apply? I said, they told me I could just go to school free. He said, yeah, but you got to get accepted. So I applied. And the dean turned me down, the missions, and the EOP guy turned me down. And I said, no, I ain't giving up my $14,000 a year job. You know how much money that was? In 1968, $14,000 without a high school diploma. I had given up my job. I said, I'm going to this school. So every day, I'd go up to the dean's office and I'd sit. And every day, he'd look the other way. And finally, one day, he was just sick of me. And he said, what do you want? You just starting trouble. You're a Panther. Well, I thought, well, maybe I am a Panther. I wasn't because I was scared of them, too. But anyway, he said, what do you want? I said, I want to go to school. He said, that guy in EOP should admit you. I said, he said you'd fire him. He said, he's got to do his job. I said, will you fire him? He said, no. Now, that's the truth of the matter as to how I got into the University of California. But if I hadn't come to California, and if I hadn't quit my job, And if he had told me I was supposed to be going to community college and not to University of California, I might have had a different history. But I got admitted. Now, let me tell y'all, my time is almost up. I was so scared. There were all these little bright, wealthy kids there. I had no math, no science, no language, and I'm going, oh, my Lord, what have I done to myself? And all I did was study, 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 went to the study hall, went everywhere I could, got a tutor. I got anything I could get to succeed. Now, if I had had some high school background, I probably wouldn't have worked so hard. But I worked so hard, I graduated in 2 years. 2.5, excuse me, I'm lying. 2.5 years with honors. I have a Phi Beta Kappa key somewhere. And the story about the Phi Beta Kappa key, I didn't know what that was. And so when you figure what has happened to me in my life and how I got here, I know that I was destined to do the work I'm doing. I know that I got here on my mom's prayers and the community's wings that brought me over. Now, I might have gone into church work because my stepfather was a preacher. But they made us go to church more than I hated church. And because I hated church, the silver lining is I got to do community work. And this is where I am supposed to be. So I got here today because there was a silver lining in everything that happened to me. I don't know if I put the silver lining there or not, but I sure took advantage of every opportunity that I could. And so, I was thinking, what better way to get here than to go the route I've gone to get here. And so I do thank all of you. I give most of the money I make to my big family because if my dad had 18, my another sister had 14, I got more people in my family than y'all got in this room. And there's some of everything. But I also give to a few charities that I love. And I always give to my NAACP because if it were not for my NAACP and pioneers who did the civil rights work, I wouldn't be here. And so I want to thank all of you who are here because you are now a part of my family, a part of my wings, and a part of my happiness, and a part of my contentment. And so I do thank you. I thank everyone that's here. And listen, Mr. President, you are forever in my heart.
Alice Huffman, Dr. Alice Huffman, our hero, our inspiration, our future, and our heart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The next doctorate is equally special to me. And Jody said I wasn't supposed to use the word special tonight because some president used it the other day. But this is very, very special to me. We have at Sac State 1,000+ students who are undocumented, who don't have the opportunity to be able to move forward in their lives. And we're in a world where their future is being threatened. This man tonight demonstrates 100% why we need comprehensive immigration reform in the United States. Ernest Tschannen came over from Switzerland in the 1950s. He had a degree in engineering, and he started working in engineering and was up in Canada, found out it was a little cold, went to Minnesota, found out that was just as cold, and eventually moved down here to Sacramento. And if any of you have watched TV with HTV and seen how they flip houses, he fell in love with flipping apartment buildings. and actually making those apartment buildings beautiful and habitable and great for people to be able to live in. And so he started working on apartment buildings and changing whole communities to be able to make that happen. Over the last decade, he has given millions of dollars to the Sacramento community. The Davis Eye Center people are here today. Raise your hands wherever you are. He knew when he went through his own eye disease that you folks could help cure eye disease. And so he gave $35 million to be able to do that. How many of you have been on the Tahoe trails or on the American trails or any of the trails? He's the person who has been restoring those trails so that you can walk on those trails. I can't keep up with him, okay? He starts walking, I got a bum knee, and he just leaves me behind. Every day he walks, and he's part of us. He found about Sac State by learning about an event center that we need to have. An event center that's so important for our future so that we can have speakers series, that we can have those graduations, everything that we need to have on our campus. And he gave the inaugural gift to start moving that forward. And then, even more importantly, that was in 2015, we have a new science building coming up on our campus. A science building that will revolutionize what we do and the education of our students. 90% of the students will go through that building. That building will be called the Ernest T. Tschannen Science Complex. He stepped up and he made it happen. Why did he do it? Because he understands what Sac State is about. And Sac State is about giving back. And this is a man who has decided, your birthday was just the other day. How old are you now?
93.
At 93, he is going to give back to America what America gave to him. That is true patriotism. That is true honesty. That is a man that I admire and I respect, Dr. Ernest E. Tschannen. So this is Kayvon, who is helping robe him from the College of Engineering.
They only come in one side.
I don't know if I mentioned it, but Ernest's brother was a chemist and a doctor of chemistry. Now Ernest is joining his brother as a fellow doctorate. And if I have to say it again, I will. Green and gold.
Thank you. I'm very grateful to be here and to be honored. And my thanks are for Dr. Nelson and the Sac State University. I have been very grateful for this country. I came here as a poor immigrant, and I couldn't get a visa for United States because I didn't have anybody to sponsor me. So I had to go to Canada. I was working in Toronto for about 3 years, and in the research department of a tractor company. And then I applied for the visa for the United States. I received it about after 3 years, because then I won't be a big liability for this country, because I know the way of life and I know the language. So I was very grateful to be admitted as an immigrant for the United States. So I moved from Toronto, where I lived and worked, to Detroit. I got a job as a mechanical engineer to work on designing of conveying systems for the automobile industry. I was there for 3 years, and I was kind of asking myself, should I go back to Switzerland? But I decided to stay in America. I loved the country, I loved the people. So I went from Toronto, where I lived, I went to Detroit. And there that's where I worked in a conveying industry for automobile industry. And when I was living in Detroit, I went back to Switzerland. I visited a company I used to work after I graduated, and they asked me if I want to work for them in Minneapolis, which I agreed to, even though I didn't think I would like it here in Minneapolis because of the climate. But anyhow, I stayed there for 35 years. I worked there in that company. We started a new company, a Swiss company called Bueller Engineering. There were only the three of us who started that company. Now it's a company with over 200 people. I helped to develop that company, and then later on I wanted to become independent, and I thought, well, what's the best way to be independent? To invest in real estate. That's how I became a real estate investor. And I still worked as an engineer. I had already 100 apartments. I still worked as an engineer because I needed the capital to buy more apartments. So I stayed there about 35 years, and getting older, I thought, well, I want to go to a place where I can retire. So I chose to go to Sacramento. And I'm glad I came to Sacramento. And I met some really interesting people. And I heard about Sac State, that they were going to build a science complex. So that really intrigued me. I was very interested to help them. I understand that time they were looking for some donors, and I had capital, and I thought, well, why not give capital to American nonprofit entity? So that's when I met Dr. Nelson and some other people I liked very much, and I decided to give him a nice gift to build that science complex. And I'm really happy I did that, and I was able to do it. Then I did some other, I don't have to say much about because Dr. Nelson already mentioned all that. I was very grateful to be able to do that, and I'm grateful to live here. And I don't want to, being from Switzerland, they have one of the highest standard of living, and I don't want my wealth to go to Switzerland. They already have a very high standard of living. We have here many poor people out of work, so I would rather give the money that it stays in America. And that's my plan. I want to give eventually all my wealth goes to America, because here I earned my wealth, and I want to give it back to America. So that's my thinking here. I'm very grateful, and I'm glad I'm able to do it. So I just have one more things to say. One more thing to say, which is, go Hornets, go!
Ernest will do Stingers Up with us in just a little while. So if you'll take a seat right there. That is the poster man, and not poster boy. This is the poster man for immigration reform in America. Finally, every year we reward someone with the Presidential Medal. Someone who has dedicated herself or himself to Sacramento State, to make a difference in Sacramento State and to bring Sacramento State up and elevate it and make it stronger. This year, we are nominating and we are giving the award to the most prolific jaywalker in Sacramento State and East Sac, because she and Dennis will not go to the end of the street. They cross the street all the time. We all know them in Sac, East Sac. Sue started in physical therapy, in kinesiology, in the clinic. She rose from being in the clinic to an associate professor and then to the department chair. She was elected to the department chair in 1996. Department chairs are probably the hardest working people at universities. They have to do all of the crap work. And I'm sorry to use that word, but it's true. They have to do it. And she did it for 16 years. But what she did in the meantime was she introduced a bachelor's in physical therapy, then a master's in physical therapy, and then a doctorate in physical therapy, which completely revolutionized our university. And now, because of Sue, we are putting in a doctorate in audiology, and we're putting in a doctorate in nurse practitioner. It would never have happened without Sue McGinty and her dedication. This last week, she came to the faculty senate. She's retired, but she came and she said, we need young people to vote. We need to get into the classrooms and get young people to vote. So she is working with an organization to take curriculum into Sac State classrooms so that we can vote and that we can have positive change. This woman is a friend. She's a dynamo. She is green and gold through and through, completely 100%. Sue McGinty, Dr. Sue McGinty. We have to put over. Yeah, you should do it. Okay. This is the dean, Fred Baldini. She now has real bling.
Ooh, it's heavy.
It is heavy.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson. And thank all of you for coming. This is really nice. And I've thought hard about what to say today. I'm very overwhelmed by this. I love Sac State. I love being a physical therapist. And to be able to combine both those loves and marry those passions in a way that not only the university, but the next generation of clinicians was just heaven. And although it was a lot of work, it was worth every second and every challenge and every obstacle that was placed in our way, and there were many. But what I don't think Dr. Nelson or the rest of you here really recognize is how much I got back from the university. When I came to Sac State, I had a master's degree in physical therapy. I became a chair with a master's degree in physical therapy and an associate professor with a master's degree in physical therapy. That's unheard of in academia. But because presidents can do everything, Dr. Girth made it happen. But this university and the challenges of moving the physical therapy program forward stretched me in ways that I didn't even know I could stretch, and helped me grow and develop skills that I didn't know I had. And all of those things were things I needed to be able to do my job better. The dean at the time, Mike Carter, said to me, well, you know, if you're going to be in this tenure track position, you really do need to go back and get a doctorate. I was like, really? At my age, I was 50 years old. Do I want to go back to college at 50 to get a doctorate? And he said, yes, you really do. And it was like, okay, if I can find something that will give me the skills I need to do my job better. And although my hood is green and gold, it really isn't from Sac State. I'm sorry.
We're not.
But it.
Basta,
But
basta, basta.
but I claim Sac State. Even so, it is from the University of San Francisco. But that's okay. But they let me adapt that program to do my job here. The educational doctorate program at the University of San Francisco, they said, you can take every assignment that we have in this program and you can adapt it for the work that you have and what you need to do at Sac State. So it was this beautiful circumstance that, as I say, helped me to grow and develop the skills I needed to do this job and to do a better job. So every day I wake up and I'm thankful for the opportunities and the challenges, because they stretched me and pushed me and helped me grow. I am grateful for my life partner of 50 some odd years now, and partner in crime, Dennis, who has stood by me and encouraged me, and whenever I had lots of doubts along the way would say, of course you can do that, go for it. Of course you can do that, go for it. And I kept saying, no, are you sure? And he said, of course you can do that. And I'm thrilled that my sons are here with us today. It's not often that I get them both at the same time and back in Sacramento, so thank you for traveling to be here with us today. And for family and friends who are here, and professional colleagues, and Jerry, who was there at the beginning, and Fred, who was there at the beginning, and all of the others. There are so many people in this room who helped me be a better me and helped the physical therapy program become what it is today, and the faculty that are continuing it have taken it to an incredible level that is just amazing. And I'm very, very proud and very honored and very humbled by this award. Thank you so much. Oh, you want that back? You want that back?
I hope you all see how amazing tonight is and how amazing these three individuals are. They are the epitome of Sacramento State, a California State University, Sacramento, of what I like to just call Sac State. They represent what we are trying to do, and they represent the path forward. I am so grateful for you, I am so proud of you. I'm so honored and humbled to be with you tonight. And with that, our Assemblyman Kevin McCarty lives next door. We're going to wake him up. Those of you who can help me, who know this, help me. Sac State is number one. Stingers up! Welcome. Get some food, get some drink, celebrate with them. This is their day.